Employees are given system access by being assigned to groups. You need to have at least one group set up in order to add an employee to the system. We went over how to set up different groups and what the different access options are in our groups video. If you don't have groups and permissions set up yet, but want to start entering your employees into the system, you can create a generic group called something like General and not assign any privileges to it. To do that, you would go to Settings and Groups. And I already have groups set up here, but if you didn't, you just do Create Group. And I'm just going to call it General. And you don't have to worry about any of this other stuff right now. Just save it. It's now saved to your list as a group. And now you can go ahead and add some employees to the system. Now you will need to go back and set up your groups for real before you can process any projects. So to set up your employees, you go to Settings, People, select the plus sign at the top left of the screen. You'll get the person creation wizard. And we'll go ahead and start setting up our employee. So first name, tab will just bring you through the fields in order. We're setting up Susan, new hire. Susan's title is she's going to be a data entry person. Now, when you first start, you probably won't have anything in your drop-down menu. You can type in it to create a new entry. And then after you've created it, that will be saved in the drop-down for you to continue to use later. And the calendars will just pull up the dates for you, and you can select them right here. Let's see, date of birth. We want, you can also use your back and forward arrow keys to move through the month, day, and year fields, and then just type in the numbers that you would like to go into those fields. Phone and email. Now the required fields are first name, last name, username, and email. So if you try to move forward without at least having those fields filled out, the system will stop you and let you know that you need to go back and fill in those fields. We just use first name dot last name for username, but you can use whatever you'd like. So now we're going to put in a temporary passcode. I'm just putting in one that we often use here, typing it in. Hourly rate. QC rate. So for our data entry operators, we enter 100% QC rate when they're first starting. This means that 100% of the work that they index will go to QC. As the person gains experience, you have the option to change this QC rate to whatever you'd like. If you're entering an employee who is not a data entry person, you can simply leave their QC rate as 0, which just means that it doesn't apply to them. The created date is system generated. Hire date. Proxy card ID. If you use access cards to enter the facility or to track your work with barcode scanners, you would put the card ID here. Term date we leave blank, and then reports to, we just select the person's manager in the drop down here. Salary, is the person salaried or not? And do we want the password to be reset once the person logs in? I always choose yes here. That way they're required to change their temporary password when they first log in the system. You hit next, and this is where you choose their groups and locations. So I would go ahead and choose data entry for this person, and I would choose employees because I have set it up so that employees all have login access. And then data entry has the other access that they need to be data entry workers as well. If you have not set up your groups yet and you just put general, then you would simply just pick general, which should be the only option that you have there at this time. And then it defaults to selecting all the locations that you have entered. And then if you don't want them to have access to all locations, you just go ahead and remove the ones you don't want them to have access to. I'm just going to leave this person in our Manchester location. Next, it gives you a confirmation screen. You hit finish, and there you go. You can go ahead and enter your next person if you have more to enter.